Most people like safety nets. They leave doors cracked open, friendships half alive, and relationships on standby because deep down, they fear standing alone. They convince themselves that keeping ties with what's toxic is maturity, that keeping options open is wisdom. But in reality, it's fear. The Sigma doesn't live that way. He doesn't circle back. He doesn't recycle connections. When he leaves, it's not hesitation, it's finality. He doesn't walk away to punish you. He walks away to protect himself. And the second he decides the bridge has no future, he doesn't just walk across it, he burns it. Flames high. Ashes permanent. To the world, this looks ruthless. To him, it's survival. Because once a Sigma sees the truth of who you are, once the mask falls, once the bond is broken, he knows that going back would only chain him to betrayal, weakness, or stagnation. And this is why the Sigma is hated, feared, and respected all at once. He doesn't bend. He doesn't return. He doesn't negotiate with the past. Let's break down 10 truths about why the Sigma never walks back across the bridges he's chosen to burn. 1. Because going back means betraying himself. If you choose them over yourself, you've already lost. The Sigma knows one brutal fact. Going back to people, places, or paths he's left behind would mean betraying his own evolution. Every time he leaves, it's because he's outgrown the space or seen the rot underneath. To return would be to shrink himself down to fit a smaller world. Most people do this all the time. They fold themselves into boxes to keep a friend, a partner, or even a family dynamic alive. They tell themselves it's compromise. But compromise without integrity is self-betrayal. And once you betray yourself, you lose your sharpness, your edge, your identity. The Sigma would rather be misunderstood than deluded. Rather be alone than return to chains disguised as comfort. 2. Because closure is a myth invented by the weak. Closure isn't real. It's just an excuse to beg for one more conversation. Society teaches people they need closure. That after betrayal, heartbreak, or disappointment, they must go back and tie the story up neatly, get their answers, and find peace. The Sigma doesn't buy that script. He knows closure isn't real. Closure is a crutch for the ones too afraid to walk away empty-handed. For the Sigma, the only closure that matters is leaving and never looking back. His peace doesn't come from their explanation. It comes from his exit. The world doesn't like this. They label him cold, heartless, detached. But in truth, he's the only one brave enough to accept that not all wounds come with a bandage. Some only heal when you refuse to scratch them open again. 3. Because forgiveness doesn't mean return. Forgiveness is for peace. Return is for fools. The Sigma can forgive. He's not chained by hate. But he never confuses forgiveness with reconciliation. He understands that someone can be forgiven and still be toxic. That a place can hold memories and still be suffocating. The crowd pressures him. If you really forgave, why don't you go back? They don't understand that true forgiveness is letting go, not re-entering the trap. He forgives so he doesn't carry poison. But he refuses to return so he doesn't drink it again. And that refusal makes people furious. Because they want him to pretend like nothing happened. They want their sins erased by his return. But the Sigma's standard doesn't lower just because you regret. 4. Because nostalgia is just emotional propaganda. Memory is a liar when it's lonely. The Sigma knows nostalgia's game. It whispers, "It wasn't that bad. Remember the good times?" It edits the reel, erases the pain, and sells you the highlight reel of a story that nearly destroyed you. Most people buy it. They walk back into the same fire expecting warmth this time. The Sigma doesn't. He doesn't let nostalgia rewrite reality. He remembers the betrayal, the chaos, the disrespect, and he treats those memories as evidence, not excuses. When he burns a bridge, nostalgia may try to rebuild it. But he doesn't let his mind sell him lies in the voice of comfort. He keeps walking, forward only. 5. Because returning is a sign of weakness they could exploit. The moment you go back, they know your price. For manipulators, narcissists, and toxic groups, nothing is more satisfying than watching someone come back after leaving. It proves they still have a hold. It proves their hooks worked. The Sigma never gives them that satisfaction. He knows returning once means they'll expect him to return again. And suddenly the power shifts. Suddenly he's predictable. Suddenly he's theirs to toy with again. He refuses. His silence, his absence, his permanent exit is the strongest form of resistance. He doesn't negotiate with chains once he's broken them. 6. Because progress doesn't have a reverse gear, the road ahead is built by walking away from what's behind. The Sigma doesn't see life as a circle. He sees it as a straight road. Once he's walked a section, it's done. Going back is not an option because growth doesn't happen in reverse. People beg him, "Why can't you give it another chance? Why not retry?" But retrying would mean undoing the progress he's made, the lessons, the scars, the strength. To him, life is momentum. And momentum doesn't pause for the past. Every bridge he burns becomes fuel for the road ahead. And that's why he never looks back at the ashes. 7. Because respect comes from finality, not flexibility. If your boundaries bend, they're not boundaries, they're decorations. The Sigma doesn't care about being liked. He cares about being respected. And respect isn't earned by softness. It's earned by finality. When he says it's over, it's over. When he walks, he doesn't crawl back. This unwavering commitment makes him rare. While others bend and flip-flop, the Sigma's consistency carves him into stone. Even his enemies respect him. Because they know, once he's done, he's truly done. And that kind of finality creates fear, and fear creates respect. 8. Because loyalty to the wrong things is treason to yourself. Not all loyalty is noble. Some is self-betrayal in disguise. The world worships loyalty even when it's blind. Families demand it. Friends expect it. Lovers manipulate it. But the Sigma redefines it. To him, loyalty isn't about sticking around no matter what. It's about refusing to betray himself for the sake of appearances. If the bridge was rotten, if the person was toxic, if the group was corrupt, staying loyal would be treason to his own soul. That's why he leaves. That's why he doesn't return. Because loyalty to poison isn't loyalty. It's slow suicide. 9. Because returning would make his enemies right. Every step backward is an admission they still owned you. The Sigma knows that many people secretly hope he'll come crawling back. That's their victory. That's their proof that he wasn't strong enough to stay away. Returning would validate their narrative. See? He needs us. He can't survive without us. But the Sigma's entire existence is proof that he doesn't need anyone to validate his worth. That's why he never returns, not even if it would make things easier. He refuses to hand his enemies the satisfaction of being proven right. 10. Because his future demands sacrifice, not recycling. You can't build an empire on recycled ruins. The Sigma sees his life as construction. Every step forward requires sacrifice. Every new level requires burning what no longer fits. Going back would be trying to build a skyscraper on ruins. It would mean recycling pain, recycling dysfunction, recycling the same broken bricks. He doesn't do that. He sacrifices instead. He chooses to lose people, places, and comfort in exchange for evolution. And that's why his bridges burn bright. They light the path forward. On a final note, he doesn't go back. Not because he hates you, but because he loves himself enough to never return to what betrayed him. The Sigma male isn't a man of half decisions. He's not a man of recycled chapters. When he leaves with permanence. The world calls it arrogance. He calls it survival. Because bridges are meant to take you forward, not back. And once he's crossed, there's no return. Only fire, ash, and the echo of footsteps walking into a future where weakness cannot follow.